cold win. The day of my son Daniel's wedding was supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life. The church was decorated with white lilies, gold ribbons, and soft music filled the air. Everyone was smiling, hugging, and celebrating love. Daniel stood at the altar, looking proud in his dark blue suit, while his bride-to-be, Clara, looked radiant in her gown. I sat near the front, holding my 5-year-old grandson, Liam, on my lap. He was Daniel's child from his first marriage, and though young, he was bright, sensitive, and often noticed things others didn't. As the ceremony began, I couldn't help but feel emotional watching my son exchange vows again. He had gone through so much after his divorce. Clara seemed kind and caring, and I was truly hoping she would bring happiness into his life. Everything appeared perfect, at least until Liam started acting strange. He shifted uncomfortably on the bench, gripping my hand tightly. "Grandma," he whispered, his little voice trembling, "I want to leave now." His eyes were wide, darting nervously toward the wedding table set up for the reception. I looked at him, surprised. "Why, sweetheart? What's wrong?" I asked softly. He looked around, afraid someone might hear him. Then he whispered again, "Haven't you looked under the table?" My heart skipped a beat. The way he said it sent a chill down my spine. I followed his gaze toward the long table near the front, covered in a white tablecloth and decorated with flowers. Nothing looked unusual from where I sat. People were laughing, eating, and toasting to the happy couple. Still, something about Liam's frightened expression made me uneasy. He wasn't the kind of child to make up stories. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" I pressed gently, but he just shook his head, burying his face in my arm. I could feel his little body trembling. For the next few minutes, I tried to focus on the speeches and laughter, but my mind kept drifting back to what Liam had said. When the band started playing and people got up to dance, I decided to check. I told Liam to stay beside me as I slowly made my way toward the table. My heart was pounding for reasons I couldn't explain. I lifted the edge of the tablecloth slightly, and that's when I froze. There was something, or rather someone, under the table. My eyes widened as I realized it wasn't just a shadow or an object. It was a person crouching there, trying not to be seen. Before I could react, the person shifted slightly, and I saw a familiar pair of shoes. My breath caught in my throat. I knew those shoes. I had seen them before, on Daniel's ex-wife, Megan. I quickly dropped the tablecloth and looked around, my heart pounding. What on earth was Megan doing here? She hadn't been invited. Daniel had made that very clear. Their divorce had been messy, full of accusations and bitterness. I didn't want to cause a scene, especially not on his wedding day, but I had to know what was going on. I quietly motioned for Liam to stay put and slipped around the other side of the table, pretending to adjust the flowers. Then I lifted the cloth again. This time Megan looked straight at me, her face pale and eyes wide with fear. "Mrs. Carter, please," she whispered. "Don't say anything." My mind was spinning. "Megan, what are you doing here?" I hissed quietly. She glanced toward the crowd nervously. "I had to see him," she said. "I had to talk to Daniel before he made a huge mistake." "A mistake?" I repeated, stunned. "He's getting married, Megan. It's too late for whatever this is." Tears welled up in her eyes. "No, you don't understand. Clara isn't who she says she is," she said urgently. "She's hiding something that could destroy Daniel." I frowned, trying to make sense of her words. "What are you talking about?" Megan reached into her purse and pulled out a small envelope. "These are copies of documents I found by accident. Clara's been lying about her past, about her identity. She isn't even legally divorced from her previous husband." I stared at her, shocked. "That's impossible." "Please," Megan pleaded. "Just give these to Daniel before he signs anything. I didn't come to ruin his day. I came to protect him." Before I could respond, a loud cheer went up as the couple began their first dance. I quickly slipped the envelope into my purse and told Megan to leave before anyone noticed her. She nodded tearfully and crawled out quietly from the back exit. I sat back down, trembling. Liam looked up at me, confused but relieved. "Is the bad lady gone, Grandma?" he asked softly. I kissed his forehead. "Yes, sweetheart. You did the right thing." But my mind was racing. Should I confront Clara? Should I show Daniel the envelope? What if Megan was lying out of jealousy? Still, something deep inside told me she wasn't. As the night went on, I couldn't shake the feeling that the beautiful celebration was built on a dangerous secret, and that it was up to me to uncover the truth before it was too late. Later that night, after the guests began to leave, I asked Daniel to walk me to my car. He looked tired but happy, his arm around Clara's waist. "Mom, wasn't it perfect?" he said, smiling. I forced a smile back, but my heart felt heavy. When Clara stepped away to say goodbye to her friends, I turned to Daniel. "Son, I need to talk to you privately," I said quietly. Seeing the seriousness in my face, he nodded and followed me to the side of the parking lot. I handed him the envelope Megan had given me. "Before you say anything, please just read these," I said. He frowned, opening the envelope. As his eyes moved over the papers, his expression changed from confusion to disbelief to anger. "What is this supposed to be?" he demanded. "They're marriage records," I said gently. "Apparently, Clara's previous husband never signed the divorce papers. Which means this marriage isn't legal," he interrupted, his voice trembling. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing back and forth. "I don't believe this," he muttered. "She told me she was divorced years ago." "Daniel," I said softly, "I know this is painful, but it's better you know now than find out later." Just then, Clara appeared, her face pale. "What's going on?" she asked, seeing the documents in his hand. Daniel turned toward her, his voice breaking. "You lied to me, Clara. How could you?" Tears streamed down her face. "I didn't mean to!" she cried. "I thought it was over, I swear. My ex refused to finalize the paperwork, and I didn't want to lose you." Daniel didn't say another word. He just walked away, devastated. I followed him, placing a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Sometimes the truth hurts," I whispered, "but it's the only way to protect yourself." In the days that followed, Daniel annulled the marriage and focused on caring for Liam. Clara left town quietly, and Megan, surprisingly, didn't gloat. She only asked me once if Daniel was okay. That night, as I tucked Liam into bed, he looked up at me and said, "Grandma, I'm glad you looked under the table." I smiled through tears and whispered, "Me too, sweetheart, me too." Because that single whisper from an innocent child had saved my son's future and taught me that sometimes, even the smallest voices carry the biggest truths.